tonight. Tea Party favorite, Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois. Congressman, great to have you with us here on what I know is a very busy night for you. Have you changed your position on this continuing resolution? Have they modified it to the point you can vote for it?
No, but you know, they're probably still modifying it, Lou. Look, nobody wants to shut down. This feels like deja vu again. Nobody wants to go through those fights again. It's just we want to make sure that one of the reasons we came to Washington was to be as fiscally responsible as we can and to really keep a watch on government spending. And it seems like, you know, we're sort of losing our focus a little bit. Jobs, all of this stuff is really important. We've got to make the case that jobs are tied to how big this government gets. So I expect something to pass, but the Republicans have got to stay as firm as we can.
Now, you just said something that sounds almost axiomatic and surprising, and that is that the size of government relates to the number of jobs that can be created. What do you mean by that?
We hear that all the time, Lou, out in district. You know, I didn't attend the president's joint session a couple weeks ago on his jobs plan. I went home.
I remember that, and I'll bet he does too.
He does too. And we sent him a letter. I talked to 110 small businessmen and women, and I asked them, why aren't you want out of your government when it comes to a jobs policy? One of their recommendations was government's got to stop spending all this money. They've got to get their books in order, because these guys know eventually it's going to hit them.
All right, books in order. Right now, dividing you all, as best I can discern, is an offset against either $3.5 or $7 billion when it comes to FEMA funding. And the sweetener, apparently, Congressman, at this point, put forward by Republican leadership, is a $100 million reduction in funding for the green plan that funded Solyndra. I mean, surely there can't be this kind of drama around such a pittance, comparative pittance, when we're talking about $1 trillion.
Well, I don't think, Lou, there is a lot of drama. And again, that's $100 million when it comes to Solyndra we shouldn't be spending. And you know, it depends on who you talk to, Lou. When it comes to this disaster relief, I wish we'd treat that separately. It's this Washington habit of we put everything together. I mean, look, the House Republicans voted on a budget, an FY12 budget this past year, and I'd love to get back to that number. The Senate hasn't even passed a budget. It's important that we try to, forget the disaster relief, we should take care of that.
That number would be what, $1.019 trillion, right? Versus $1.043 trillion.
Versus $1.043 trillion. That's $24 billion.
I mean, at some point, you know, there's an old expression that I was taught. Just don't let it get reduced to principle. And the fact of the matter is, there are such important issues here. I mean, I was saying earlier to Morton Zuckerman when we were talking, as we're talking about tax reform as a way forward to create jobs. If I'm one of the 25 million people in this country who doesn't have a job, and I hear a congressman, a billionaire, I hear anyone say to me the solution is something that's going to take 3 years to get done, I'm going to be gut sick. And I think we've got a higher responsibility to the country than that, all of us as citizens, let alone you folks elected to office.
Well, we do, Lou, but you understand, we're in a bind. The House Republicans are in a bit of a bind here because we were sent to Washington to really try to undo everything this president's done, which we believe has destroyed this economy. It's caused a bumpy road, but I think each and every one of these fights that we have, and the super committee and the debt ceiling is going to come up again, and then there'll be appropriations fights, I take a contrarian view. I think these are good for this country. The country's paying attention. Right. They want us to come together on something, but they want us to be fiscally disciplined.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and no one's more of a free enterprise capitalist than I am. No one believes more in a constitutional republic than I do. But at the same time, I also know that this continuing resolution will take us through to a very short period of time. We're going to renew this debate. We have just had it a month previous. We also need to, at some point, move government policy to the point that we can restore prosperity to this country, and that seems to me, irrespective, that seems to me to be an urgent, critical, that is the urgent, critical need of government right now.
Absolutely, Lou, and you and I agree on the solution. Get government out of the way. Right now, the rest of this economy is overregulated and overtaxed. They're sitting on their hands right now because they're so scared at what this administration's been doing. Again, we're trying to undo a lot of that, and it just makes for a bumpy road often.
All right. Well, Congressman, always good to talk with you. I know you got a long evening ahead of you, and we thank you for being with us. Congressman Joe Walsh.
Thanks. Good to be with you, Lou.